What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. And today I finally got my hands on my first 2023 TRX. I know they've been out for a few months, slowly trickling in, but like I said, this is the first new 2023 TRX that I've got to actually inspect, crawl under, lift up in the air, and check the fluids on. So I thought that's what I would do today, is just do a quick rundown on any of the weird issue quality control stuff, I guess, that I found on this 23, so we can kind of figure out, are things getting better? Are they just kind of staying the same, and go from there? So I guess the first thing that I noticed, I was under the hood, looking around, inspecting it, pulled the fuse box cover and thought I would check the fuses. This was kind of a thing early on in the TRX world of all the fuses or relays not being pressed in all the way. So I thought, hey, I'll check it on this 23. And lo and behold, a lot of the relays were very crooked, not pressed in all the way, multiple fuses not pressed down. Now, were they out enough that they were going to fall out and rattle out? No, probably not. But a lot of guys early on thought that we potentially were seeing some weird electrical stuff due to the loose fuses or relays. So again, there's a large fuse box under the hood on the driver's side there. It's a big black cover. You'll pull that off and then you can see all the relays or fuses. Don't need to disconnect the battery, do anything like that. Just go through and push the fuses, push the relays, push all of them down and make sure they are fully seated. Was this truck having any issues? Absolutely not. But is it good to have fuses and relays fully seated? Yeah, probably. There is another fuse box under the dash, the driver's kick panel there on the dash. Those ones all seem to be decently fully seated, but again, if you're checking, might as well check both of them. You can find information on that on the TRX forums that kind of pertains to that also. Second thing was coolant levels. The supercharger coolant level was slightly low. It was barely below the minimum line. Again, the supercharger coolant tank is extremely small, so I was able to top it off with a very small amount of coolant, but I just don't recall seeing low or slightly low fluid levels in the past. Again, was the truck going to have any issues being driven with that much less coolant in the overflow? No, probably not. But again, I like to be very transparent with you guys, let you know what I find when I am looking at these things. Next was another thing early on in 21 on TRXs. There were just tons and tons of wiring harness clips that weren't connected. There's a little Christmas tree clip for holding the wiring harness, a hole right there, and the factory just didn't push them into the hole. I remember just finding an absolute ton down the frame rails, on the body, in the engine bay, just a ton of them. As time went on, more and more seemed to be installed correctly from the factory. This one, I almost didn't find any wiring harness issues, if you want to call them that, but I finally did find something up on top of the transmission. I took a quick picture here. You can see, or you might be able to see, a O2 sensor that didn't get clipped from the factory. Again, was it causing any issues? No, but in theory, the wiring could have fallen to the side, got melted on the exhaust. Again, this would have been covered under warranty, but I'd rather not have that issue on my brand new vehicle. So again, just a quick, simple clip, and that harness was reinstalled back, where it should have been. One thing I was very interested to see was the fluid levels. If you guys have seen any of my posts or any of my videos with TRXs, I've preached from really early on about checking fluid levels, especially the front axle and the transfer case. Those are notoriously low. Almost every single 21, almost every single 22, the front diff and transfer case were normally a half quart low. Some a little bit less, of course, but most of them were low and needed to be topped off to get them to the bottom of the fill plug. So again, I was very interested to see this 23, lifted it up, checked the transfer case first, and it was completely full. I was very happy. I was proud of RAM for actually putting the fluid in. Checked the rear axle, it again was full. I have never seen one of those low. and went to the front axle, pulled the fill plug, and didn't have any fluid come out. Added less than a half quart, maybe a quarter of a quart, if that. But again, I'd rather have them full. 700 horsepower is a lot of strain on axles, on gears. If you're towing and hauling and all of that creates heat, I'd rather have my fluid level full on my brand new vehicle. Now, is a quarter of a quart low going to cause any issues? No, probably not. But again, checking over it, I'd rather it be full. Some of the good things that I found, again, the transfer case was full, like I already mentioned. Pretty rare, at least for me, to find a transfer case full on a brand new TRX. And the TRX lean, the springs are already on this 23. I believe the 22 that I kind of previously did an issues video with also had the new springs installed. And if you, again, aren't familiar with that, there should be a lot of information on the TRX forums about the lean springs or the lean repair for 21 and 22. Apparently on 23, they are already putting the different springs left to right to correct the spring or TRX lean, if you will. So all in all, I would say we are getting better. Now, were the 21, 22 issues horrible and oh my gosh, don't buy one of those trucks? No, it's just little piddly stuff that somebody OCD like myself was able to find, point out, and make a video for you guys. So yeah, guys, it's still the same awesome TRX here for 23. And I'd say there may be carrying a teeny bit more on the assembly line before we get these things in our hands. So guys, hopefully you appreciated that. If you've got a incoming 23 or you've got a 23 or you have a 21 or 22 and just kind of interested to see if things are changing. But yeah, like I've said, like I've preached from the beginning, if you have not checked your front axle or transfer case fluid on your 21 through 23 RAM TRX, you better do it, because I am sure the dealer did not check it when they checked that vehicle in. I'm sure I'm the only guy out there checking them, taking the time to lift up every single one and check them over. So do yourself a favor, check it, make sure it's full before you go out and beat on the truck any more than you already have. And guys, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.